So I thought I'd quickly show you something kind of interesting I picked up recently, and that's the SEGA Channel adapter for the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis. And basically what this was a piece of hardware that had allowed you to connect to a service where you could download games and demos directly to your console. So a lot like we have now with, say, your Xbox Live or your PlayStation Network and some of the other services like OnLive or Steam. So kind of like a games on demand service where you could download a full game or demos straight to your console without actually having to go out and buy the disc, or in this case the cartridge. So what I'll do is I'll quickly show you the device here, which is plugged into the top of the 32X there, and I'll give you some kind of facts and figures on the whole service. So we take a closer look at the device here. You can see it's basically just like an oversized game cartridge, and there's not really a whole lot to it. So on the underside here you've got your regular cartridge interface, the same as what you'd find on a regular game like this. So it just plugs straight into your Mega Drive, your 32X, and on the top here you've got a power LED. It does take an external power adapter, but I'll get to that in a minute. You've got a menu button which would basically reset the device. You've got this big kind of sticker on the top. This one's slightly yellowed, there's a little rip there. And this particular model was made by Scientific Atlanta. I believe there's two different versions of this you could get. There was an earlier model and a later revision. I think this is the earlier version. The later revision I think was taller, a little bit slimmer, and it had the cable input on the side as opposed to the back on this one. But yeah, this is the earlier version I think. So turning it around to the back here, you've got your input for the power adapter. So it took 15 volts DC, and finding the original adapters for these is kind of tricky nowadays. I had to kind of go through my big box of electronic parts and find an adapter that was suitable to power this. And yeah, then you've got the cable input there as well, so that would just hook up to your cable provider, so like the same as with your cable TV. But that's the device, and it's not really, like I say, not really a lot to it. So what I'll do now is I'll just quickly tell you some facts and figures about the service, and yeah, basically I did some research and found all this stuff on Wikipedia, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So the service ran from 1994 until 98, and it cost $15 a month to subscribe. There was also a $25 setup fee, and basically what you got from that was access to 50 games every month, as well as extra content like demo versions of games. So I think the way it worked was you could download new games that weren't released yet, and you could play them for a set period of time before it would cut off, so like 15 minutes of gameplay. So you could test out the game before you bought it, kind of thing. So that's kind of cool, the same as what you've got with modern consoles where you can download the demo versions of games. At its peak there was 250,000 people subscribed to the service, which is quite impressive, quite a lot of people, quite a popular service. And it was mainly available, or mostly popular, in the US. It was also available in Canada, Australia, Chile and Argentina, and I was kind of surprised to hear it was also available in the UK. So obviously I live in Scotland, but I'd never heard of this before. The only reason I found out about it was browsing eBay one day, and I happened to see this listed and ended up buying it. But yeah, I'd never heard of this before, so I'm sure quite a lot of you have heard of this and have maybe even had one, but I'm guessing it would mostly be people from the US that know about these things. So these work slightly different to the way like a modern on-demand gaming service worked with the likes of your Xbox or your PlayStation. They hook up to the internet, and then you download the game data from a server, and it gets stored on your hard drive or your memory stick or whatever. With this, it actually connected up to your cable connection, and the SEGA Channel, or the menu that you'd browse, was actually a continuous broadcast. So from that menu you'd download the game you wanted into RAM, and that took about a minute to do. But as soon as you switched this off, or switched off your console, everything was wiped clean, so there's no menu system or anything actually stored on this device. What you could do is you could hit the reset button and it would reset the game as normal, as if you had the actual game plugged into your cartridge slot. But other than that, if you wanted to reset the device or go back to the menu, you just hit the menu button, it'd go back to the menu, you could choose another game to download. But as soon as you switched off the console, everything was wiped clean from this. I'll show you what happens when you plug it in now and fire it up. Obviously the service is long since discontinued, so all you really get now is like an intro screen, and then it searches for the signal. But that's what I'll show you right now. So this is the main screen you'll expect to see when you turn on your SEGA Channel adapter nowadays, and this is just kind of like the waiting screen while it searches for the signal. What I'll do is I'll quickly hit the reset button and you can watch the intro. You see Sonic run across the screen there. And then it goes back into the kind of waiting screen. And sometimes this guy will change from being up top here and he'll be on the side there. Don't know, it's just kind of random. And this is just basically you waiting for the SEGA Channel adapter to find the signal for the SEGA Channel. But obviously it's not going to find it because it's not being broadcast nowadays. But what you could do back in the day is, while you're waiting, just mess around with the colours of these things on the screen. So if you hit the A button, you could change the colour of the guy in the top. Hitting the B button changes the colour of the Sega logo. You can just scroll through the different colours, so you could have that yellow, red, and then the channel, you can change that as well, to green. And you can also change what's going on in the background there as well by hitting the D-pad, so you can just kind of change the kind of direction that's going in, the speed. The kind of wee stars that are going there. But yeah, that's just a quick look at the waiting screen there. It'll eventually go into an error screen, or it'll just sit in this screen indefinitely. So yeah, I'll quickly show you the error screen. So this is the error screen you'll eventually see when the SEGA Channel adapter fails to find the signal. And it'll basically just tell you that you need to check your instruction manual, check everything's hooked up properly, and if the problem persists, give your cable company a call. But yeah, just thought I'd do a quick video on the SEGA Channel adapter and tell you a bit about it. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.